You're watching the official podcast of the new mega musical, Brother Joseph, the amazing true life story of Joseph and Emma Smith. I'm Brett Battaglia.
And I'm Truus Henbach. Thank you for joining our continuing conversation about the early days of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So, Truus, the last time we got together, we touched on the vilification and orchestrated hostility toward Joseph, Emma, and all those who accepted the Book of Mormon.
Absolutely. And, it wasn't just abstract threats. The governor of Missouri, he issued an extermination order against Mormons in 1838.
Wow, that's just chilling. To think that that kind of intolerance could be, enshrined in law?
It is.
So this wasn't really just about their religious beliefs. It was about, who belonged, who didn't belong, And that fear of the other, that feels... it feels eerily relevant to a lot of the issues that we're facing today.
You hit the nail right on the head. Brother Joseph, it forces us to confront those uncomfortable parallels,
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us that history, it often repeats itself if we don't learn from the past.
It's almost like this musical is saying, hey, this isn't just some story from the history books. This is a story for right now, Like a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked prejudice, the dangers of fear-mongering and things like that.
Exactly. And you know what? It wasn't just those external forces that they had to contend with. There were betrayals from within their own community, People who they considered friends, people who they considered allies actually turned against them.
That's got to be one of the most painful experiences, right? Like betrayal by those you trust. What do you think those instances of betrayal can teach us?
I think it's a good reminder that human nature, it's messy, it's complex. Even within groups that share these common beliefs, you can have conflicting motivations, power struggles, personal agendas that lead to conflict. It's a good reminder that community building is hard work. Maintaining unity, it takes constant effort and forgiveness.
And you know what? Forgive me if this is a little bit simplistic, but it sounds like Brother Joseph, it's not really trying to convert anyone to any particular faith.
Right.
It's trying to connect with us on a human level. Help us understand this pivotal moment in our nation's history.
You're absolutely right. It's an invitation to step into the shoes of those who live through these events. To feel their joys, to feel their sorrows, their triumphs, their struggles. And through that empathy, maybe we can learn something about ourselves. Maybe we can learn something about our own capacity for both good and evil.
It's a powerful idea, that understanding the past, it can help us navigate the present. It can help us create a better future. But let's go back to those spiritual experiences for a minute, the ones that were so central to Joseph and Emma's story, right? The visions, the revelations, the angelic visitations. What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, Joseph, he claimed to have his first vision when he was just 14 years old. He described seeing God the Father and Jesus Christ. And they told him that none of the existing churches were true. So this vision, it set him on the path that would eventually lead to the founding of Mormonism.
Yeah, that's a pretty profound experience for anyone, right? Especially for a teenager. And Emma, did she share these types of spiritual experiences?
Yes, she played, a crucial role in supporting Joseph's work. She wasn't just a passive bystander, you know what I mean? She was an active participant in their shared faith journey.
It seems like their story is a reminder that faith, it's not just about, intellectual assent. It's about personal experience. It's about emotion. It's about deep conviction.
You got it. And whether we believe literally in those visions or not, the point is that they shaped Joseph and Emma's lives. It's about understanding how their faith and the experiences that fueled that faith drove their actions. It drove their choices.
So it sounds like this deep dive, it's not just about unearthing historical facts. It's about exploring the power of belief and the impact that it can have on individuals and entire community.
Precisely. Brother Joseph, it asks us to consider what it means to believe in something wholeheartedly. What lengths people are willing to go to when driven by their convictions.
It's incredible to think that this story that's rooted in these, very personal experiences of faith, that it actually ended up inspiring a movement, right? A movement that drew in tens of thousands of followers, like 26,000 people gathering in Nauvoo, Illinois. That's a massive following.
It really is.
Yeah. And think about it, right? This was a time of great societal upheaval. People were searching for meaning. They were searching for stability. They were searching for something to believe in.
Exactly. And those spiritual experiences that we were talking about earlier, like those visions, those feelings of divine intervention, They resonated deeply with people who were looking for those answers. They were willing to sacrifice. They were willing to face hardship, because they believed in something bigger than themselves.
And from what I've read, Joseph Smith himself, he was a charismatic guy. He was a compelling leader. He had this ability to articulate a vision and inspire people to follow him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did. He tapped into that deep human need for meaning, that deep human need for connection. And in a time of all this uncertainty, all this change, his message, it resonated with those who were looking for something better.
It's almost like he created a blueprint for how to build a community, how to find strength,
Yeah.
how to find resilience in the face of all this adversity, which makes the ending of his story all the more tragic.
Yeah, you're right. It's really easy to get caught up in all the excitement, right? Like the excitement of the movement's growth. But we can't forget that it ultimately ended in tragedy.
Can you shed some light on what led to that? What led to such a violent end?
Well, as the Mormon community it continued to grow, the tensions with their neighbors, they grew as well. There were conflicts over land, there were conflicts over resources, there were conflicts over political power. And those underlying societal tensions combined with the religious differences, well, it just created this powder keg, right? And that powder keg eventually exploded.
So it was more than just religious intolerance. This was about power.
Yeah.
This was about resources.
Yeah.
This was about, the fear of this growing different group, this group that was challenging the established order of the day.
Exactly. And sadly, that fear, it turned into violence. Joseph Smith, his brother Hiram, they were killed by a mob in 1844. It's a stark reminder that progress, it isn't always linear. The fight for freedom, the fight for acceptance, it's an ongoing struggle.
It's a sobering thought. What happened to the community after Joseph Smith died? I mean, did it just kind of fall apart?
Not at all. It actually speaks to the strength of their community. It speaks to the depth of their conviction, right? They didn't just survive, they thrived. They embarked on this incredible westward migration under Brigham Young's leadership. They eventually ended up settling in Utah.
So even in the face of unimaginable loss, unimaginable persecution, their belief in something larger than themselves allowed them to rebuild. It allowed them to create this, a lasting legacy.
That's what's so incredible about this story, Brother Joseph. It's not just some historical drama. It's a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, that hope and resilience, they can prevail.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've journeyed through this pivotal chapter in American history. We've explored themes of faith, themes of community, themes of persecution and resilience. Your brother Joseph, it's not just a story for a specific religious group or anything like that. It's a story for anyone who's ever questioned what they believe in. It's a story for anyone who's ever yearned for a sense of belonging.
It's a story that invites all of us to reflect on the power of belief. It invites us to reflect on the complexities of building a community and, that ongoing struggle for freedom and acceptance, right? In a world where those values are constantly under attack.
So to our listener, we really encourage you to engage with this story, no matter what your background is, no matter what you believe. Let it spark your curiosity. Let it challenge your assumptions. Consider the power of faith and consider the enduring human capacity for both good and evil.
As you kind of delve into Brother Joseph, ask yourself, what role does belief play in my own life? What am I willing to stand up for? And how can we as individuals, how can we as communities build a world where tolerance and understanding, where they triumph over fear and prejudice?
Those are definitely questions worth pondering. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
We look forward to catching you on our next episode as we continue our exploration of this wonderful new musical, Brother Joseph.